Did you know that where you place your character in Raid Shadow Legends matters? What happens if AoE comes in and kills more than one character? Which character revives? We're going to answer these questions and go over how placement works in Raid Shadow Legends and when you should be concerned with it. If you haven't done so already, click the link on the description to download Raid Shadow Legends. You get all this stuff. Tayrel, Rector Draft. Also, use the promo code Monkey King within the first 24 hours to get Sun Wukong and log in for 7 days and you will get Alice the Wanderer. 2 legendaries, 2 epics. Right now is probably the best time to start playing Raid Shadow Legends. So, the questions that we're going to answer is the following. If you have an ability on a character that says all allies attack target character, what order do they attack in? Well, that's going to be determined by placement. If a boss comes in and hits everybody and everybody on your team has counterattack, what order do they counterattack in, right? And so the reason why that would matter is maybe you have a character that on their basic applies the leech or defense down. You want that to go earlier than later, right? That way that all the ones that come behind will get the benefit. In Godseeker, what if the enemy comes in and AoEs your team and 3 people die? Which one of the characters will revive, right? So this is what we're talking about. Now, there is a very specific order that the game does. So when AoE comes in, damage is done in order. So it's not done simultaneously. It does one character, then the next character, and the next character, and the next character. So how you place them is going to determine the order that they take damage. And this will matter very specifically with some of these characters like Vogoth and Godseeker. So here's how it works. And it actually works in the same way that you place characters. So like the leadership is always going to be the first. So the first one to receive damage on incoming AoE. If everybody on your team has counterattack and gets hit by AoE, the leader will be the first one to retaliate, and they will go in order that they're set down. So this is going to be place 1 right here. This is going to be place 2. This is going to be place 3. This is going to be place 4. And this is going to be place 5. So it goes leader, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can go in on Hydra and see that also, where you put the first character, second character, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, in the order of tapping them. Now, why does that matter? And what types of characters will matter? So the example that was used before we started the video was Godseeker. And Godseeker has the ability, if an ally is about to be killed by a fatal hit, preempts that hit and instant places a revive on death buff for them for 1 turn before damage is taken. So who would get that if more than one character is dying? Well, it's going to go in the order that they're placed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this is why placing Godseeker in 2 is going to be important, or whatever character you want to revive first. Now, the way this is set up here, I really want Rector Draft to be my leader, so I don't have a lot of choice over that, but conveniently enough, Rector Draft has a revive anyways. But Godseeker has a revive. And so I'm going to put Godseeker in position 2. That way, if AoE comes in, this boss here has a bunch of splash damage from the bleeds. And we'll go into battle and we'll see how that goes. And sometimes more than one character will die on a turn. Well, the first one to revive will be based in that order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want her to revive so she can revive someone else, right? And so by putting her in the number 2 position is going to be of high importance. Another character. So this is going to affect passives when they trigger when AoE damage is coming in. This is going to affect the attack order when many allies do an assist, like all allies attack, it's going to go in order of placement. So again, you're going to want the defense down, the leech characters to go first, so that way you can get more effects. And then lastly, if you have a way of putting counterattack on your entire team, the order that you put them will also do that. Some of the counterattack characters put out stun. Some of the other counterattack characters put out defense down and bleed. And if you want it to go in order to get the maximum amount of damage going back or maximum amount of effects, I'm going to be mindful to the order. Now, Vogoth is a really weird character, and he needs to go in the last slot. And so Godseeker needs to go in the second slot or the first slot, but she doesn't have a leadership ability, so that's not going to go there. And then Vogoth needs to go in slot 5. And the reason for that is so that his passive gives him the maximum amount of healing. Whenever this champion is attacked, heal all allies by 50% of the damage received. Only heals by 25% of the damage received from the boss attacks. This champion only receives half of the heal that all other allies receive. So if he is in the first slot or the second slot, then he's not going to be healing the characters as much as he would is if he was in the 5th slot, because it all happens in order. And so the first one takes damage, it resolves. The second one takes damage, it resolves. The third one takes damage, it resolves. The fourth one, damage takes fall. Vogoth gets hit, and then he heals the allies by 50% of the damage received. So you don't want them to be going after him because they haven't received the damage yet, and maybe they're at max health. So to maximize healing, Vogoth needs to be in the 5th slot. So this is a battle that I was struggling with. This is going to be the Bommel, and it's just strangely enough that I have 2 characters in this particular battle that matter, and this is going to lead to more consistency because this boss right here, lots of bleeds. You'll see lots of stuff happens in this battle. I'm going to put him in the 5th slot. I'm going to put Godseeker in the 2nd slot, and then of course Rector Drath is going to be on the 1st slot. So we're going to go into battle. Now this is inside the Doom Tower, so unfortunately we have to kind of play through the minions. We'll fast forward and get to the boss battle where it matters. All right, so we're in the boss battle, and we have Godseeker in the 2nd slot, and we have Vogoth in the 4th slot. And you can see how it doesn't really line up that way. And I put it on 1x. I'm trying to see if we can figure this out. I may have to do it in post-production to show everybody how it works. But eventually these guys right here are going to start splashing and putting out all kinds of nasty effects and things like that. And when the AoE comes in, hopefully we'll be able to see that they're all healing correctly. Let's extend that a little bit right here. But he's going to start popping off here pretty soon, so we got to be ready for it. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it here in this video without doing it in post-production. Like, okay, right here, boom. So they all healed, right? They all healed. So what would have happened there is if Vogoth wasn't in the last slot, the one that was behind him, if at max health, wouldn't have healed all the way up. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Let's see if we get an AoE where people actually die, and we'll see if we get the revive on Godseeker or Rector Drath if it comes in and more than one of them dies. Because at some point this match just starts to pop off, right? These guys are just going to be doing all kinds of damage, and they're going to be doing crazy stuff. Boom, right? So they're healing in the correct order, and we survived that. Let's see if we're going to... I mean, it's going to be hard to recreate a situation where this doesn't work, but I'm going to tell you this right here, that we're getting optimal healing from Vogoth, because if he's in the 4th slot and the guy behind him is at max health, the damage resolves on him and then he heals, then the guy behind him who is at whole health didn't heal up any more than where he was on at, and then he takes the damage because the AoE comes in order according to the slot. So that's kind of important because there's a chance where if a character's at full health when the AoE damage comes in, they could be having health where if it's put in the wrong order, they won't. So this is a very specific situation that we're talking about here. I'm going to try to see if we can get a kill in here where, all right, nobody's dying here. Well, I think we're just crushing this boss battle right here. This one was a nightmare. I had a hard time figuring this one out. In fact, I had to go to the Hell Haiti champion team optimizer to figure it out. And Vogoth really was the key. And I knew that the placement on Vogoth was important by some measure, that he needed to be in the last slot, but I wasn't entirely sure. I'm going to speed this up. I think we're going to get a W here no matter what. This match here can be tricky. I know that if I don't go into the match without my cooldowns ready with this particular team, it'll create a problem. So where to be mindful of when this could be potentially a thing is going to be if your team has a character that calls in multiple allies to attack. It's going to be matter if you have a character that puts counterattacks on the entire team, or some characters with some of their masteries will get a counterattack if you do a certain abilities on the mastery trees, and some characters want to counterattack before others. I don't think I personally have that situation, but like let's say Magnar had a chance to counterattack, right? I would want him to be closer to the beginning than the people that come behind him. So we'll go look at that. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know the situation where he would counterattack, but if multiple characters were to counterattack at the same time, a character like Magnar, which has defense down on his A1 or his basic, I'm always going to call him basics. This game, they call him A1, A2, A3. Why can't they just call him basic, special, ultimate? That's what I want to call him. That's what I want to call him. All right, so this is over right there. So what that means is that probably, I definitely want Godseeker in 2, but probably Magnar should be in the 3rd slot because Geomancer's basic does accuracy down, which is not as important as hitting multiple attacks as having this right here. Now, having him at the end is going to be the most important on this particular team. Make sense? Placement matters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And if you haven't done so already, click the link in the description so you get 2 free epic characters. Scan the QR code, Tayrel, Rector Drath. Use the promo code Monkey King to get Sun Wukong. Got to use that in the first 24 hours. And then also log in for 7 days to get Alice, the Wanderer, who is amazing. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Bye for now.